Alright, Shalom. Before I begin this video, all praise, honor, and glory goes into Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, rule well and teach well, as well as the sincere salutations to the elder bishops, along with you brothers laboring all throughout the four winds of the earth. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash, Barakatham, to you brothers. And Salaki if I keep sniffling. You know, they got, and it's a lot of through the spirit, man. It's a lot of shit going around. I need to do a lesson on that. I was reading the article on that, and I'm gonna have to be real, touchy with the words, as not to, get the video removed, because you start talking about, things of that nature, and all of a sudden they want to do that. But anyways, this video epistle video lesson is based upon the Neuralink brain chip. And how basically they getting it rolling in 2026. They getting it popping already. Right out the gate, they getting it popping. Because this article wasn't up, until yesterday. Probably sometime in the middle of the night. I'm not sure. So this article, it reads, Elon Musk's brain chip, it's it don't even say that, brain implant, which we know it's a C-hip, Cause what they gonna implant? A C-hip. Right? It says brain implant company Neuralink will start high volume production of brain computer interface devices, C-hips, right? And move to an entirely automated surgical procedure. So they finna have AI. They finna have an AI guided robot, which you probably gonna have, a human, operator, doing it. Probably some guy who graduated from Johns Hopkins, Yale or something like that. But this is the first breakthrough. We got the AI mixed with the human interface, because they have that already. They got a machine that the doctors can use, and it can sew the skin on a grape, which that's thin as hell. When you pick a grape up and you lift it up, you can see light shining through a grape, so that skin is thin. And we're in the times in which technology and medicine, even though they're already hand in hand, that grip is getting tighter. That bond is getting tighter. You see different companies that represent technology, commerce, and things of that nature, and it's being, meshed and molded together, with medicine, right? All right, it says high volume production, which they already got them. They already got C-hips on C-hips. They've been making those. It says move to an entirely automated surgical procedure. So you gonna be in a line, you know, for those that take it. Right, Lord's will, we be of the elect, and we ain't taking it. For those of you who are not of the elect of the nation of Israel, you're gonna line up just like when you got the juicy juice. They're gonna sit you in a chair, and it ain't gonna be long with these. I'm trying to word, I'm trying to word this right, because you want to say different things like, surgical procedure and this and that, and Esau get to pick it and choose it, And through the spirit, we do what we do. We just being cautious to the best of our ability. All right, this damn devil Musk, he got something coming. He got something coming down the pipeline. He gonna have people lining up like when they was getting the juicy juice. You gonna be in line, and it ain't gonna be long. It ain't gonna be this is an 8-hour procedure for somebody to get to see him. No, we talking 3 minutes or less. We talking 3 minutes. It could be just a big ass drill with some sort of numbing agent, and that's it. Drill, baby, drill. It's like Trump be talking about that don't just apply to the oil. Now they want to drill in you. They want to get inside you. How invasive is that? That's invasive as hell. Here it is. You get to. You basically controlled in every form and facet of your life. Complete control. And now this devil wants to put a C-hips, not just one. He's trying to put multiple C-hips inside of you. So Israel is faced with a dilemma. Do you want to, take the C-hip and be destroyed, or do you want to resist the C-hip? And live, so to speak. Because the Lord, man, the terror of the Lord is so deep and so powerful that there are those, right? There are those Israelites who are not gonna take the C-hip. You gonna have Jakes that say, I ain't taking that, whether they know it's the MOTB or not. I ain't taking that. They still gonna be wicked and on nigga shit and get their ass jacked up. Yet we know for an absolute fact that absolutely none of the elect of the nation of Israel are going to take that C-hip, right? Because to follow up with that statement, you're going to have a lot of heathen, especially the heathen. You're going to have a lot of heathens that are going to say, fuck no, we ain't taking no ship. We ain't taking that. And it ain't gonna make no difference. Y'all through anyways. Y'all done with anyways. But we're telling the Israelites, right, that there is an elect of the nation of Israel that ain't gonna take no C-hip. No C-hip. we that's one of the main prophecies that we speak on is the C-hip, the implementation, of the MOTB. That is the MOTB. Those C-hips, that is the MOTB. Automated surgical procedure in 2026. Musk said, so you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Which, and this is just me speaking as a man. This is just a speculation that I've observed. He got some You know, this nigga like the good doctor. You know, he got a little. You know, this nigga got some Stephen Hawking type of vibe going on. He a little. You know, he a little special. So when he says certain things, he means it as an absolute fact. And you can see that with these different people like Musk, Zuckerberg. They don't have the same, you know, they don't have any, you know, social skills, because they believe that they are above everyone else, right? Whether it's because they got money or influence or this and that, but ultimately they're Edomites. Which best believe Musk, Zuckerberg, you know, these different guys, Bezos, they know about the Israelites. You ain't gonna have all that damn money and all that power and influence and not know about the Hebrew Israelites. Right? Says Neuralink did not immediately respond to a router's request for comment. And let's split the screen so we can get some precepts going, and then see if this video will play. All right, so I was looking for a specific precept that, you know, most likely is at the bottom of this list here. Yet, as I'm scrolling down, I had to just start from the top. I had to. All right, we got to. We must. All right, so roll this down right here. So this is the book of Job, and I'm just going to read down these. You know, some of these aren't speaking specifically, you know, about the sea hip. Yet, in a overall sense, it is speaking about the sea hip, right? Because this is part of Esau Edom's crafty, wicked devices. That's a wicked device. A device that's put into your brain and tells you, you know, you link it up with whatever, whether it's a phone that is linked up to, whatever the case is, you ain't gonna need no phone. That C-hip in your brain is gonna wake you up with an electromagnetic shock. All right, you gotta get up for work. That shit going, shock you right up. If they feel like, you know, you doing too much, if you know, and you're going to see that too. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, you're going to see people, brain C-hips just get, you know, cut a nigga shit off right in front of you. Like they just cut off a light switch. Right? That's the power that they're going to be able to have, man. Right? They're going to have the power to tell you that you can't buy or sell without a C-hip. So, of course, they're going to have the power, you know, to delete you. They already got the power to delete you. Right? This damn devil, if he wanted to, he could just say that you a threat or whatever the case is. He can scoop you up right now and do you in. Right? Throwing all your rights out the window. He can do that already. So this shit gonna get real. Lord's will, 2026 is the year of the chip being implemented. That's what we hoping for. We hoping that 2026 is the year of the chip being implemented. The year of all hell breaking loose. That's what we want and need. Right? Every day of our life, we beg the Lord more intensely too. Barakatha Bashim Yahushua. Alright, Job 5:12, it says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty. Yeah, you crafty, wicked fucking devils. And best believe Jake is on the forefront of this technology, right? Because when you have Esau pushing a wicked agenda, you got wicked ass 2/3 Jake right behind him. You know, and it's always, and you always see the end of somewhere. Which you know, the so-called black woman got something to do with this C-hip. You know, whenever you got some, just like I forget her name, but there's a famous so-called black woman who used to work for NASA, and she was known for her mathematical skills. How good she was at math, and she was able to basically calculate like a trajectory for the rockets without the use of computers. So she and I forget her name, but I remember learning about her and how Esau basically, when Esau figured out how good she was at math, they gave her the title of, this is the director of, mathematical trajectory, whatever. Esau comes up with all these fancy titles and words. And that's what she did, man. And she's good at it. See, Jacob, the Israelites, they're excellent at whatever they put their hands to, whether it's righteousness or wickedness. And to this day, a lot of her equations, okay, they still use them to this day. But back to the precept, Job 5:12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And what's their enterprise? Their enterprise is complete control. They want to make it so that the Lord is not existent. See, that's the pride of these fucking devils. You gonna try to push the Lord out of the picture. You crazy as hell. Job 21:27, behold, I know your thoughts and the devices which ye wrongfully imagine against me. Damn. So once again, using it, in the context to now understand. And that's another thing that the heathen and the 2/3 nigga doesn't understand, is that the precepts and, all the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, it's written for our learning. The things that happened, thousands of years ago, it can apply to us today. These devices. Now, Job didn't know about an actual, C-hip, devices. Yet now in the year 2026, okay, we know what devices are. A device doesn't have to just be a computer or something like that. All right, it's a tool. It's anything used to make something easier, to further push something along. Let's get the definition for device. All right, so this is the definition for device from the Blue Letter, and I'm gonna have to learn from one of the brothers exactly where they're going to get that Blue Letter definition where it says Strong's G 313 So Lord's will, I can figure that out, because I thought you were able to do it from from here. But anyways, the definition for device, it says device, a scheme, invention, plot. So it doesn't just have to be, a computer. It doesn't have to have technology involved. Yet they use the technology to fool the people, right? Because it is a scheme, it's an invention, it's a plot, right? What's the plot? What's the plot? To have, going back to Job 5:12, right? Perform their enterprise. That's what they're trying to do. In the Old Testament, it stands for 6 Hebrew words, of which the most common is Makashabeth, which, of course, and that's what. And see, this is I need to know where are brother? How can brothers get the Strongs? I need to figure that out, because I thought you were able to do it, from here. But anyways, it says in the New Testament it occurs only twice. Once for Greek enthumesis, and once for noema. Which, we'll just pull out these couple of examples, and if it sticks, it sticks. If it don't, it don't, right? Because all the scriptures stick through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It's just, in this particular case, we're looking for specific ones. Yet, the Spirit, of course, leads you to, all the precepts. Acts 17:29, it says, "For as much then as we are the offspring of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's device." Yeah, so the mind of the Lord, see, the power of the Lord cannot be compared to the physical. That's what makes it so. That's what makes you look so damn crazy when you bow into these idols. That idol, that giant gold Buddha, that giant, all silver Krishna, or a giant elephant made out of wood. The heathens got all these elaborate, and brothers have seen it. You see the videos online. These heathens will have a fucking 100-foot statue. No, damn that. They'll have a statue the size of a football field standing up. And you can, when you look at it, if you can feel the demonic presence of that damn idol. It's a big ass idol. You got a bunch of people setting flowers before it, or just standing in front of it bowing. A big ass, just huge. The size of a damn cell phone tower, just posted up. All right, so that ain't the Lord that Salakia, that ain't the God that we serve. A God of, big ass idols. No, we serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, in spirit and in truth. See, it comes with a spirit, the Holy Spirit, a completely separate spirit. From the bullshit of this world. Everything else is bullshit besides Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? Going back to Acts 17:29, it says, "For as much then as we are the offspring of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold or silver or stone, graven by art and man's devices." Yeah, so this ain't something that man came up with. The Lord was here far beyond everything else. Nothing else was here, right? Nothing else existed before Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That's hard for Jake to comprehend. Before anything, the Lord wasn't created. He just is. Nobody created Yahweh. He is. He exists. All right. Going back to the passage, it says, once for Noema. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, which includes the sea-hip, and also all the different wiles of all the different, plans. This nigga got a whole agenda. It says, going back, sometimes the word means simply that which is planned or invented without any evil implication. It says, but more frequently, right? And that's because of technology. The technology has increased, right? So more frequently, it is used in an evil sense of a wicked purpose or plot. This shit about to get real. It says the implant is designed to help people with conditions such as spinal cord injury. The first patient has used it to play video games, browse the internet, post on social media, move a cursor on a laptop, which is all these people want to do. That's all these niggas want to do. They just want to play video games, browse the internet, post on social media, and move their cursor on the laptop. Yeah, that's basically what the average American does all damn day. All these online jobs. You go somewhere like San Jose, California, New York City, Seattle, Washington, Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Texas. All and those are just small examples, right? Where technology is on the forefront. You go somewhere like Dallas, San Jose, Seattle. Where else? Where there's so many different places where technology is put, on the forefront. Atlanta. Technology is needed. Basically, AI is gonna make it so that shit, you on your way out, all these different coding jobs and different things like that, they already getting fired. Right? They're about to implement the C-Hub. They want you in a digital world. They want to mix the physical with the digital, and then eventually just purely digital, because the goal is to completely take you out physically and to just have you digitally, a digital slave, transhumanism. And see, look, man, I'm sniffling, right? I'm sniffling, and all of a sudden, they got something on here. They got something on here for congestion. See this fucking devil, man. This devil and his devices. He constantly listening. And it's not a coincidence. People have been saying that for the longest. That these different ads and these different things are tailored to what the device hears, man. And that's going to be the same case with that C-Hip. That C-Hip, when you walk past certain locations, when you do certain things, it's going to generate ads and it's going to generate information based off of your location. So I'm going to play this video right here. It says, "Are we ready for Elon Musk's Neuralink future?"
Name, face, or date. Being able to augment the brain power we're born with to offload memories and correct human maladies. That's what Elon Musk and the team at Neuralink are setting out to do. But is this the future of humanity or just a dream? Let's take a closer look at Neuralink. I'm Matt Farrell. Welcome to Undecided. So what is Neuralink? Well, it's a company that's focused on building out a type of brain-computer interface, or BCI, which can have many different names and classifications. But it all boils down to building an interface that can read and interpret the signals given off by the neurons firing away in our brains. This type of research goes all the way back to 1924 when Hans Berger, a German psychiatrist, used electroencephalography, or EEG, to record human brain activity. It's a process that uses electrodes to measure the electrical activity of the brain. And the first tests were probably a little uncomfortable, given that he inserted wires under the patient's scalp to make the recording. Now, thankfully, these were later replaced by attaching silver foils to the outside of the head, but imagine how those first patients felt when they found that bit out. It wasn't until 1973 that the term BCI was coined by UCLA professor Jacques Vidal. In a 1977 experiment, he was able to use an EEG to control an object on a computer screen and move it around a maze. Since that time, there have been quite a few different approaches and advancements made in how to read signals from the brain, like being able to map motor cortex neurons to control a robotic arm, which is something that was demonstrated in the 1980s with rhesus macaque monkeys. And in some late 1990s research at the University of California, Berkeley, they were able to reproduce images seen by cats by deciphering their neuron activity. In the early 2000s, 16 patients received a second-generation visual cortex electrode implant to partially restore the ability to see shades of light. So you can start to see why so many people are excited by BCI research. There are three basic forms of BCI: invasive, partially invasive, and non-invasive. The electrode implants that were attached to the visual cortex would be considered invasive. Partially invasive is when an implant is placed inside the skull but rests outside the brain and doesn't intrude into it. And something like an EEG that attaches to the outside of the scalp is non-invasive. On that scale, Neuralink would be considered invasive. But how does it work? Well, it all starts with Neuralink's Link, which is a sealed device about 23 millimeters in diameter and 8 millimeters tall. Inside is a little computer that processes, stimulates, and transmits neural signals. Extending from the coin-shaped link are a series of neural threads with multiple probes and electrodes, which are carefully threaded into the brain. This invasive approach can take a far more accurate reading of brain activity than a non-invasive approach. There's an analogy that constantly comes up around this. It's like a stadium where each seat is a neuron firing off and making noise. An EEG is like being outside the stadium and trying to understand what's going on with the game inside. You can only really tell if a team scored or something exciting happened. But if you move inside the stadium, the voices become clearer and you can start to make more sense of the play-by-play. Move even closer and you eventually can ask a specific neuron what they think of the game. Built into the Neuralink system is the ability to track things like orientation, temperature, and pressure. It's able to track a lot of the same things that your phone and smartwatch can do, or as Elon put it,
it's more complicated than this, but in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires.
The rationale behind collecting all this extra data beyond just what the neurons are doing is that combining all of that collected data will someday unlock the ability to predict early signs of dangerous conditions, like a stroke or a heart attack. Now, it can also charge inductively, like your phone or watch, so it should be easy to top off the charge every day without physical wires needing to be hooked through the body. But it's how they install the link that's absolutely amazing. They designed a robot that can complete the very delicate threading procedure. The incredible small size and detail work that's needed to be done is more than a human can pull off reliably. So automated robotics are necessary to do this quickly and safely. The ultimate goal is an automated surgery that can happen in less than an hour. And don't worry, I won't get graphic with the actual details of the procedure. I don't like that stuff myself. But it entails opening a small flap of your scalp, drilling a small hole through the skull, threading the electrodes, and inserting the link to fill the hole. After sealing the flap of skin, there's no sign that you've had the procedure done at all. And during the demonstration they put on last year, they showed a couple of pigs, one with an active neural link and the other who had one removed, to show how safe it could be. The neural link in the active pig was connected to the neurons that controlled the snout, so they were playing real-time audio signals to represent the data that they were reading from the firing neurons.
So on the screen, you can see each of the spikes from the 1,024 electrodes, and then if she snuffles around, touches this snout in the ground, or you kind of feed her some food, pigs love food, then you can see the neurons will fire much more than when you're not touching the snout.
They also demonstrated being able to predict the location of the pig's limbs by interpreting the neural data that the link was receiving with pretty high accuracy. Being able to read and understand someone's intentions for moving a limb can potentially be applied to restoring movement to someone with paralysis. But it's not just reading data that they're focused on. They also showed off that each data channel is capable of writing or triggering neurons by giving off an electrical charge. Again, this could be used to treat any number of disorders. The overall presentation was impressive and showed off their product design methodology, from creating a system that's safe and easy to install, unnoticeable when you have one, and safe to remove and upgrade later. But this is where I need to emphasize what Neuralink is not. But before I get to that, I want to touch on security for a minute. And no, I'm not talking about the security issues of wiring a computer into your brain, which Neuralink is taking a lot of precautions around. I'm talking about in our daily lives. You need to create more and more complex passwords for the websites and services that we use to stay as secure as possible. And today's sponsor, NordPass, can really help with that. NordPass lets you generate super complex and unique passwords for each website that you use.
That's been pissing me off too lately. That's been pissing me off too. These they slip into an infomercial. They slip into a product that they trying to push, man. This shit's annoying. It started off, they just, switch to the ad. Now the ad is in the videos, man. See how Esau wants to get closer and closer and closer to you. This nigga is a weirdo, man. He's a weirdo. He wants to get inside your mind. He wants to get physically inside of you. All right, so let's just go ahead and skip that.
VPN security professionals who know
That dumbass shit.
but Neuralink isn't alone in this field by any stretch. There are companies like Paradromics in Austin, Texas, that are also trying to help people with conditions like paralysis or blindness. Or Neurable, which is a Boston-based startup that's focusing on EEG-style devices to control computer interfaces with a set of brain-sensing consumer headphones. And an even more direct competitor to Neuralink is BIOS from the UK, which has a similar implant technology to help enhance and improve different health conditions. The biggest difference between the other companies and Neuralink is really their approach and vision. Much like every other one of Elon's companies, there's a bit of controlled chaos with how it's run. An engineering-focused, first principles thinking, incredible pressure cooker to push the envelope. And delivering on accelerated timelines reportedly created some internal strife, especially with some of the people that were more attuned to the methodical scientific research approach. After their last public event, there were a few notable criticisms of the event for overselling what's possible. The MIT Technology Review published an article that called it neuroscience theater, since none of what they saw proposed for the future is doable yet. And what Neuralink did show wasn't anything new or groundbreaking in the realm of BCI research. While the critiques weren't necessarily wrong, many of them missed some of the nuances of the presentation. It was stated multiple times in the presentation that this was a recruiting tool for more researchers, doctors, and engineers, getting those who want to be part of building the future excited to join the team. It wasn't meant as a demo for the public to get excited about getting one implanted into their heads tomorrow. Elon also made comparisons to other consumer products, like the fact that the Neuralink has over 100 times more data channels than the next best consumer device. Going from research to product is a huge leap, especially in the medical field. We're still years away, if not decades away, from more of the aspirational things they talked about. What Neuralink is doing, trying to bring a product to market before when Hans Berger is a huge leap, especially in the medical field. We're still years away, if not decades away, from more of the aspirational things they talked about. What Neuralink is doing, trying to bring a product to market from the lab, is a Herculean task. On the flip side, there were also voices that were very impressed by the presentation. I am amazed by the rapid progress in the device architecture to enable seamless prototype in pigs. The best part was seeing the prediction of movement versus actual movement. In terms of the technology, 1024 channels is not that impressive these days, but the electronics to relay them wirelessly is state of the art, and the robotic implementation is nice. But this is where I start to get a little conflicted, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all say about it in the comments, because I am torn. I get so excited to see what we as a species are capable of when we put our minds to it. The fact that we're at the very beginning of the journey towards mapping the human brain and potentially being able to cure diseases and disabilities is awe-inspiring. Neuralink may not be revolutionizing specific BCI research yet, but they're tackling the engineering feat of making it a reality. But some of what could be a potential down the road is as terrifying as it is amazing. What will it mean if we can actually offload memories, or load memories that are not even our own? I got flashbacks to the movie Strange Days with Angela Bassett and Ralph Fiennes, where there's a black market for memory trading. And the line between what's real and what's not, like a fabricated memory, really starts to be blurred. Like I said, this technology amazes and terrifies me all at the same time for what it could mean decades down the road. It doesn't help when I hear that Facebook is working on BCI technology too. Yeah, I don't want Facebook anywhere near my neurons. If we don't act responsibly and ethically today with the development of this technology and put proper guidelines and controls in place, we're creating ripples into the future that could turn into...
See, yeah, he talking too noble. They might have to get your ass out the way. You talking about regulating. Wait, hold up. Regulation. They don't want no regulation. They want this to be like a wildfire. All right?
Turn into damaging waves or tsunamis. At the very least...
I mean, this is obviously sounding increasingly like a Black Mirror episode. But yeah, essentially, if you have a whole brain interface, everything that's encoded in memory, you could upload. You could basically store your memories as a backup. Then ultimately, you could potentially download them into a new body or into a robot body. The future is going to be weird.
Bring it back closer to today. There's...
See, he admitting it right before your very eyes, man. That's the goal. That's the goal that they trying to go with. Psalms 10, and I'm going to read down these and then end the video. Psalms 10 and 2, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. And you can see what he's doing. You see the measures that he's putting in place, you know, putting the control on the people. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Yeah, so y'all see, so all this different technology, you're going to be subject to it. Okay? He going to have to take that C-hip. He ain't high level enough to not take the C-hip. He going to have to take it. He may not even want to take it, yet he going to realize, okay, I got to buy, I got to sell. You know, all these guys that you think are top level, it's going to be known that these are just the bottom of the barrel guys, man. You're going to see who the real world's richest is when you... If you the world's richest, man, you're not getting the C-hip put in you, man. Come on now. This guy's basically just a lackey. All right. Ultimately, that device that's going to take them is the missiles. Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Psalms 33 and 10, it says, the Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. Yeah, so all of these different wicked councils, summit, all of this is coming to naught. It's over with. Done with. The Lord's going to destroy that, and he's going to set up his son. It says, the Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. And that shit ain't going to affect the elect. The elect ain't going to take the C-hip. Psalms 37 and 7, rest in the Lord. Yeah, so trust Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Trust the counsel of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which is the men. All right. It says, and wait patiently for him, right? Occupying yourself in prophecy. All right. Seeking Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you know, until he physically comes. He going to physically come to the earth. It says, fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. Yeah, so be upset about the fact that all the heathen doing good and, you know, the technology is advancing and everybody's making money and everything is just going and flowing, because this shit gonna stop flowing. This is gonna come to a close, right? Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, yeah, the wicked. Okay. And that also applies to the heathen and the 2/3 nigga as well. All right. Fret not, because you might see a Jake fly by in a brand new Mercedes AMG crispy lineup with the white lines on it. You know, dreads down his back. You know, he got a brick of in the trunk. You know what I'm saying? Right, you know, riding by, living the good life. We don't gotta be worried about that, because niggas like them gonna take to see him, because they gonna want to keep what they got. All right, continuing Psalms 37:7. It says, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Woo! Because you got to be wicked to come up with all these different schemes. So like it says, Proverbs 1:31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. Yeah, so they want to do what they want to do. Don't nowhere in the scriptures do it say to drill a hole in somebody's head and put a device in there. You obviously going against the Lord by doing all this. So let's see if that'll just... Let's see if we can just hold that up there. It says, it's like in Proverbs 12:2. A good man obtaineth favor of the Lord, but a man of wicked devices will he condemn. Yeah, so he's condemning the wicked and all their devices, which includes the seer, right? But also his way, just the way that he operates. Proverbs 14:17. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. Yeah, Esau Edom, he hated. Right, he's dealing foolishly because he knows that he only has, you know, a short time. Proverbs 19:21. There are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. Yeah, so only the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Only the counsel of the Lord. Right, only the men of the Lord, right, which ultimately is the elect, are going to be able to stand in that day. The scriptures speak about the elect not bowing that knee to Baal. Isaiah 32:7. The instruments also of the churl are evil. Right, which if I can remember correctly, that's basically like a, you know, like a low level. It's basically Esau. You just a low level nothing. Right? He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words. Yeah, we gonna heal you. We gonna, you know, we gonna this, that, and the third. Okay, even when the needy speaketh right. And who are the needy? We need to be saved. The Israelites. We speaking right. Okay, we saying, hey, that's wicked. Drilling a hole in your head is wicked. We speaking right. So let's see if this will work. So I'm gonna try to keep that. See if we can find this one. Ooh, Tuwadi Abashimi outside. Leviticus 19:28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord, right? Which goes basically into tattoos, right? And the reason why it says that right there, cuttings in your flesh for the dead, Jake, and when you think about this, you especially think about the Israelites. When okay, long live my granny on the left arm, long live my uncle on the right arm. Jake will have a whole list down his arm of everybody that done passed away. His kids. And we're not supposed to do that. And that's another thing that Jake gets all upset about, that he can't get tattoos. Just simple things, man. The Lord said, don't get no tattoos. And Jake want to wrestle against the scriptures. Because Jake will sit up here and argue, well, where does this say? Where does this say tattoos? You know exactly what the hell that means. Let's read it again. Leviticus 19:28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. Leviticus 21:5, it says, they shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. So you going off multiple ways when you get that seer, because you gotta think about it. When they drill that hole in your head, they gotta shave that down. They gonna definitely, anybody who has ever had any sort of, and I gotta watch my words, anybody who has ever had any sort of situation like that, let's say that it's something wrong with your arm and they got to do something. Once again, I'm just trying to use words lightly. And they got to do something. They shave that whole arm down. Hell, they shave your arm before they give you a tattoo. So, of course, they're going to shave your arm down before they, hit you with that device. That's going off. If you're in the truth, what you need a straight razor for? You don't need no straight razor, because you're not supposed to line up anything, right? Just have your natural lineup. You don't need to be, just if you're gonna cut your hair, put a number 2 guard on, number 1 guard, whatever the case is, and go all around. You don't need to take the guard off, you cutting specific line. You don't need to do that. Get the classic, all the brothers in this truth got the classic prophecy haircut. If brothers don't have, afros or things of that nature, then they got the prophecy haircut. Which you look crazy. You look homeless. Because you ain't all lined up. Brothers ain't all lined up and crispy. We look like we just had the clippers put on your head. You know, like me, myself, I don't go to a, barbershop. I just cut my own, hair. You just put a guard on. That way you don't have to worry about Jake, trying to line you up and shit. I had Jake do that one time when I first came into the truth. Like the first year I came into the truth. Probably the first couple years I was in the truth. I went and I got a haircut by this guy. And I had told him, I said, don't line me up. Just put the guard on, go, all the way around. Cut the hair off, but don't line me up. I had my eyes closed. All of a sudden I hear, and then I feel something on the, the front of my head. I wanted to put my damn hands on him. I wanted to put my damn hands on, because I told him specifically. And that's another thing, brothers, brothers, you got to watch out. You got to really trust that barber. You got to trust your barber, man. If you tell him, do not fucking line me up, you need to have a barber that listens, man. Cause I was about to turn him everywhere but loose. His I really, you know what I mean? And sin makes you angry. I was watching a video that a brother was putting up like a year ago, just speaking on how, sin pisses you off. Right? So it's righteous. It's righteous to be angry when somebody does something like that. Right? Now, of course, you don't want to physically, do nothing. But you might have felt like it, Hey, I didn't do nothing. I felt like doing something, but I ain't do nothing, I got the hell up out of there. And I never went back there. I shouldn't have paid the nigga, but that's neither here nor there. I ain't want to rob the man, even though he robbed me, right? He had me shit. I was feeling, I was feeling bad through the spirit, like damn, But it's all learning lessons. Don't trust Jake. Don't trust Jake, cause it. All right, Leviticus 21 and 5 going down. It says, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. So they're gonna shave you down, and then they're gonna make cuttings into your flesh. That's going off. That's going off. Second of all, that should show you that, okay, if they doing all this is something that ain't good for you. If they having to shave you down, drill a hole in you. Wait, hold up. What is that about? All right? Which I'm not going to read that last one. All right, so now I'm just going to paste. Let's see if that's specific. Okay, Thawadi Abashim Yahushua. And it's the Lord that inspires us to be able to do things the way that we do. Because we've been taught by the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Like how to go into the script, how to go into the scriptures. This is why we give them double honors, because that's how we learn to operate. The specific way that we operate, we come under the elder apostles of Great Millstone, right? As well as the bishops, once again, regional heads, heads, up and coming officers, priests, so on and so forth. I'm going to go straight to the point. Romans 11:4. But what saith the answer of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai unto him? I have reserved to myself. I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, right? So a complete number, who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal, right? And it hasn't submitted, right? Bowing that knee represents submitting ultimately to Satan, which ironically, you done fell into a trick bag. Satan worked for the Most High. Satan worked for the Most High. Romans 11:5 says, even so then at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. So the Lord from the jump, from the get-go, has set up the elect, right? From the foundation of the earth, the elect, was set up. And that elect is here in this present time. Romans 11:6. And if by grace, then it is no more of works. Yeah, so being of the elect isn't based off of work, yet you must work. It's not simply based off of works. It says Romans 11:6, and if by grace, then is it no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. So they go hand in hand, right? You have to have the works, right? There's works, there's grace. See, because you can say, "Oh, I did this, I did that." I did all these things, yet you have no faith, right? You basically doing it for nothing. If you don't have the faith to believe that this is the MOTB, that we are at the end, that America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed, and that the elect of the nation of Israel is going to be beamed up, then you wasting your time. We're in this to be of the elect. Lord's will, we be of the elect, right? All you sincere brothers from the elder apostles on down, and the men before them as well, right? High priest Abba Bivens. And they were taught. Our elder apostles were taught. The Spirit is working with them. They were taught. And now flash forward 2026. We basically at the end. We waiting on to see him. We waiting on this. All right? This is one of the things that we waiting on. Romans 11:7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Yeah, so they ain't gonna see what's taking place. They blinded. Here it is, the scriptures right before their eyes. They still talking shit. That's all right. And I'm gonna just bring this up real quick, because Jake loved to say, where it say that Satan worked for the Most High? Where it say that at? Right here, nigga. Job 2:1. Again, there was a day when the sons of Yahweh Shai came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? So that's a question of authority. Where you been? You don't ask something like that unless you run the show, unless you in charge, right? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it, that's his assignment. So he's basically telling the Lord that I'm doing what you say do. Job 2:3, and the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth Yahweh Shem Yahushai and escheweth evil. And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. Right, so the Heavenly Father, has Satan to say that ultimately to prove a point, to prove how powerful the Lord is. So the Lord, hey, have you seen Job? Have you considered? You seen Job down there, right? That's my man. And Satan's like, yeah, a man, basically a man will do anything to keep his life. So Satan observed that, like, okay, Job is an upright man. Satan knew that. Satan knew, okay, this is an upright man. All right. He fully knew that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna prove the Lord wrong. No, he's just doing his job. All right. Job 2:5, it says, but put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So once again, that's a directive from a position of complete control. That was commanded to Satan. It was commanded that you cannot take his life. Just to further prove his control. Like, look, okay, we just gonna do that. And so that it can be shown. This is an example for us to read. The power of the Lord. He got Satan in subjection and also gave him the directive to jack Job up, right? On the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, Job is being built up through faith. His works, grace, studying, praying, fasting, keeping his integrity, right? Which is what the Lord has us in the position to do. But just, quick example. So in conclusion, the MOTB is the C-hip, which this must be brought out. It must be. Revelation 13:16. This is one of the main prophecies we're waiting on. And he causeth all, Esau Edom causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, which includes the head in general. Your hands, your body in general. It don't just got to be, if it's in your left hand, you still got to see him. Stop playing with the Lord, man. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. See, you ain't going to be able to buy nothing, sell nothing. You ain't going to get no mortgage. You ain't going to get no loan. You ain't going to get no damn job. Any sort of paperwork you got, any sort of building you try to go into, you ain't getting let in. Unless you got that C-hip. Because what you doing in the store if you ain't buying nothing? See, they going to need special help. They going to need help, right, to keep the people controlled. You going to have Gestapo. You going to have Gestapo, outside of these buildings. Hell, in the buildings. All right, access denied. You don't have the C-hip, so you are not allowed in this building to pay for your, registration or your whatever. Because I believe it was one of the elder apostles had mentioned this, that shit, your tags expiring, insurance, different things like that. How you gonna pay it, right? So we going back to pilgrims. It's all good. Shit, driving is a pain in the ass now, anyways. It get worse and worse. It's harder and harder to drive in Babylon the Great. You might go down the street. Okay, I'm gonna get a tomato. I'm gonna get a tomato, an onion, and I'm gonna make a little something. You drive down the street, it could be down the street. You done damn near gotten 4 wrecks, and you done drove, a mile and a half, to get some damn feta cheese or something like that, man. It's ridiculous. Revelation 13 and 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number, Slakia. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, which represents Esau Edom. That man is Esau Edom. And his number is 666. 666. These are all indicators of who we are looking for. Who's going to be bringing this about? Esau Edom is going to be bringing this about. We're not looking at Moab, Ammon, for the Sihib to be implemented on a worldwide scale. We looking at the so-called white man, starting off with these so-called elite international bankers. These are the ones, right? Rockefellers, Rothschilds, so on and so forth. These are the men that are pushing that agenda. These are the men that are bankrolling this whole technological push. This, like the brother Gadal always brings up, the 4th Industrial Revolution. Right? Eating the bugs. You will own nothing and be happy. All right? That's their goal. Eventually, and you heard Musk, telling the people what the goal is, all right, to eventually put you into another body. Upload your memories, your conscience. Man, this nigga's the devil, man. But the Lord, fret not. The Lord is going to stop this. The Lord's going to stop this devil in his tracks, man. We just have to continue to push forward, continue to believe, right? And fight through his spirit. Because this devil, he coming with all sorts of wiles, like brothers constantly speak on, the demons getting stronger. You seeing more demonic activity out here. More temptations, more, that's increasing. So we have to increase through the spirit. All right, Lord's will, we be of the elect. So with that, Lord's will, you are edified. Call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well, from the elder apostle Tahar on down. All right, along with the sincere salutations to the elder bishops. All right, along with you brothers who are pushing, laboring all throughout the 4 winds of the earth. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, Barakatham. And to you brothers, man. And we ride around the corner. These through-ass people, they have no idea what's coming next. We understand and know what's coming next. We see what's coming down the pipeline. All right? So we're going to continue to ignore, the naysayers, the non-believers. May they be destroyed. May the Lord, continue to uplift his elect. Lord's will, we be of the elect. Shalom.